OMG, grab your popcorn because this is not a drill. Terrence Howard and Justin Bieber, they finally said it, the truth. The kind of truth that's been whispered about in music studios and private jets for years is now blowing up front and center, and girl, it's wild. You know all those creepy rumors we've been hearing about Diddy and how he deals with young artists? The strange vibes, the weird mentorships that everyone acts like are nothing but totally aren't? Our truth were not, that. It's all real, and now two huge names are putting it all out there. Let's start with Justin Bieber, and honey, don't even act surprised. This boy didn't just cross paths with Diddy once or twice. Oh no, he basically grew up around the guy. We're talking private flights, cozy studio sessions, and those sketchy parties, the ones people only whisper about. While we were busy fawning over shirtless pool pics and dope music collabs, Justin was living a whole other reality, a darker one, and the fact that he's coming out now, years later, with a clearer head and nothing to gain from this, it makes what he's saying even more terrifying. He's risking everything, his brand, his safety, his legacy, but still, he's done staying quiet, and that speaks volumes. Then there's Terrence Howard. Baby, if you thought this was just about young boys being preyed on, think again. Terrence is no rookie. He's a grown man, been in the biz forever. He's seen the games, the fake smiles, the shady invitations. So when Diddy tried to bring him into that inner circle of his, Terrence didn't just say, yes, sir. Oh no. He questioned it, challenged it, and most importantly, he walked away. That's why this hits different. Justin was too young to know better back then, but Terrence, he saw it all for what it was, and he said, nope, not me. And now, the craziest part, these two are telling the same story. One was sucked in as a teen, the other was approached as a seasoned vet, but they both saw the red flags, and together, their testimonies are impossible to ignore. This is way bigger than some shady encounter or awkward party moment. This is a full-on pattern, a playbook, a system that's been running in plain sight, hiding behind fame, power, and the illusion of opportunity. And with Diddy facing federal trafficking charges, girl, the timing could not be more chilling. People have always wondered if the rumors were real, and now Justin and Terrence are basically screaming yes. And no, they're not doing this for clout. This isn't a publicity stunt. These are two men who've seen some things and finally found the courage to speak out, especially Terrence. This man has always been respected for his talent and his integrity. So when he says Diddy was trying to pull him in, people are sitting up. Apparently, it all started super casual, just some harmless invites to hang out, allegedly to help Diddy with acting lessons. Sure, Jam. But when Terrence actually shows up, there's no talk of acting, no rehearsals, just Diddy sitting there, watching him, silently, not saying a word, not asking anything, just looking. Like, excuse me, and it only gets creepier. One day, Diddy's assistant reaches out with another invite. Wanna hang this weekend? But Terrence's own assistant stepped in with a hard truth. I think he's trying to F you. Period. And Terrence, he didn't hesitate. That was it for him. Door shut, contacts blocked. Boy, B by E.
Me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands-off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. Speak against me and use the same courage that it took for me to say those truths. Man to man, eye to eye, integrity and in truth. I've spent a lifetime earning the right to speak with the conviction about these truths that I speak. So if you want to tear that down, have the decency to come and say it directly to my face. And say it like a man.
Now let's get real here. This wasn't just some awkward misunderstanding. This was manipulation, power moves. Diddy allegedly using the same slow burn grooming tactics he's been accused of with countless others. Dangling opportunity, blurring lines, seeing how far he can push until you either give in or bail out. Terrence, he bailed out, thank God. But how many young men? How many were too scared, too confused, or too broke to walk away? Terrence didn't just brush it off and pretend it was nothing. This moment hit him hard. It changed something in him. And when he sat down with Patrick Bet-David on the PBD podcast, oh honey, he let it all out. He described the pressure, that constant pressure in Hollywood to go along to get along. But he's not built like that. He's not one to sell his soul for a role. Keeping his man card, as he put it, isn't about toxic masculinity. It's about self-respect.
Listen, before y'all talk about me, y'all need to talk to me. You see, once upon a time, if a man questioned another man's honor, he didn't do it from the shadows. He had to do it out in the open, with his name, his chest out, and his chin high. Not hiding behind a keyboard or tucked behind editing clips of fair use disclaimers. You see, citing Section 107 of the Copyright Act does not give you free rein to defame, misrepresent, or harm another's reputation. Fair use is not a shield for character assassination. So here's the simple truth. If you take my words, my image, my ideas, and twist them to feed your fear and inflate your ego, if you profit off of my name while calling me a liar, then be prepared to stand behind your accusations.
And girl, when he said that infamous line, I think he's trying to F you, that was it. The moment everything snapped into place. Terrence realized, oh, okay, now I see the game. And just like that, he cut all ties. Ghosted. Gone. No explanations needed. But get this, Diddy wasn't the only one who tried it. Terrence admitted this wasn't the first time someone powerful made a creepy pass at him. He said it's happened multiple times with different producers. And every time, his response was the same. Shut it down. You threaten to punch them in the mouth or knock their head off. He said straight up. And you know what? That kind of brutal honesty, it's rare in this business. Most folks just zip it. Stay silent to save their jobs, their image, their gigs. But not Terrence. He's done protecting creeps. He's calling out a whole system, one where powerful men think they can treat others however they want, like they're untouchable. Not everyone's willing to stand up like that. But Terrence? He's a whole different breed. But y'all, Terrence didn't just stop at telling the story. Nope, he went all the way in. He exposed the whole mentality that's been rotting Hollywood from the inside. For him, it's never just been about dodging creeps or walking away from sketchy offers. It's about knowing who you are, standing your ground, and not letting anyone, no matter how rich or famous, take that from you. Terrence said it loud and clear. There's a line that should never be crossed. In his world, respect isn't negotiable. Masculinity isn't something you just turn off and on when it's convenient. It's a core part of his identity. And guess what? He's proud of the times he's walked away from roles, money, big-name producers, because they wanted him to sell a piece of himself, and he refused. While other men are blurring lines, playing the game just to get ahead, Terrence has stayed rooted. He's not just another guy trying to be famous. He's a man with real boundaries. And honey, when you carry yourself like that, you get respect, but you also become a threat. People like Terrence, they don't just get tested, they get targeted. Over the years, he's been baited with money, fake praise, promises of bigger roles, but he saw through all of it. He saw the trap. And he knew the moment you start compromising your identity in this industry, you lose the only thing that gives you power, your authenticity. So when he says he's lost work over this, he's not bitter, he's proud, because to him, that loss was a win. He didn't sell out. He didn't let them mold him into something fake. He kept his soul intact. This man isn't just calling out creeps like Diddy, he's calling out the entire system. The fake opportunities, the way young talent gets lured in, used up, then tossed aside. And what he says next, it hits different.
Until you see him at a puffy party, then they're not tough no more. I'm surprised that the rap game is still alive after, because the masculinity that the rappers are supposed to portray. Yeah, well, I didn't think it either. And even when my assistant said that stuff, I still was like joking it off. And it wasn't until later on that I heard other things from people that worked from him. You know, you remember that back in the times of slavery, they had a thing called breaking the buck, where they would take, not to go in a bad place, but this is how I see what's happening, the parallels with what's happening correlates what's happening in the business. If they, back in the times of slavery, if they had like some 12-year-old slave that was just full of himself and confident and, wasn't listening, they would tie him to a log or a barrel, and a bunch of the overseers would rape him, to where when he walked around with the slaves now, he didn't have the confidence.
Sure.
He was broken, and it was called breaking the buck.
Wow.
And that's still taking place. And so to hear that people in the industry are still making young rappers who have fought the worst of circumstances, being disenfranchised, being discounted, and then they finally I'm gonna put it into music. I'm gonna do it in the music. I'm gonna, and get myself together. And they go and see someone, and they tell them, okay, yeah, you can have a deal. Perform fellatio on me, and you get your deal. That was what I heard while I was on Empire about some of the people in the business. And Petey Pablo, you remember Petey Pablo?
I know who that is.
Petey Pablo, talented writer, singer. Him and Young Buck wrote a song called Ho Is On. And in that song, back in about 2011 or 29 or something, because he called out all of the homosexuality taking place at those parties and those people, he was kicked out of the music business. No radio station would play his stuff. So you look for Petey Pablo, he's not around anymore. But that song, Ho It's On, they did not care. They went all in on it.
Terrence didn't sugarcoat a thing. He peeled back every single layer and showed us what this industry really is. And the scariest part? It's not even about the fame, the pressure, or the chaos. It's what happens after. The spiritual death. The soul-crushing shame that creeps in when you realize what you gave away just to stay in the room. He's seen it up close. Over and over. Men who thought they were winning only to wake up one day and not recognize themselves. And when he said, once you cross that line, you don't get it back, it hit like a gut punch. That's the trap. That's what the Diddy parties were all about, drawing people in, making them think they were leveling up, when really, they were stepping into something much darker. He didn't dance around it either, he named it. The manipulation, the grooming, the way young stars are promised mentorship and stardom, only to get caught in a toxic, soul-sucking cycle. And guess what name keeps popping up in those stories? Yup, Diddy.
You see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. You need therapy. And that's the thing that hurts them the most. And so they end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity? You got to go in as a principle. And what we were brought in here is myth. We produce 1,500 sperm per heartbeat for a reason, because the aggression is necessary. You don't trade that, no matter what.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the
Hell
consequences
yeah. I
when you
mean,
said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? I'm just looking at it. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. He's sitting there, just looking at it, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers come in and make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off, or talking to you like, or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be the man in the room. And that's always been my whole thing. And have lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that shit because the man card means everything.
I had no idea we were going to go this.
Terrence describes it like spiritual erosion, a slow death from the inside out. And the men who fall into that world, they don't just walk out the same, if they ever walk out at all. He's watched it happen. The look in someone's eyes when they've given up something they can't ever get back. That haunted, hollow look. Yeah, he knows it too well. And then he brought up Justin Bieber. Girl. The moment Justin's name came up, it all made sense. Terrence nodded and said it plain. That's what happened there too. Justin's stories suddenly got a whole new meaning. We all watched him spiral, the drugs, the arrests, the meltdowns, but we never connected the dots like this before. Justin wasn't just another celeb gone wild. He was a kid, a teenager, brought into the circle before he even knew who he was, hanging around grown men like Diddy, flying on jets, going to parties that no child should have ever seen. He looked like the luckiest kid in the world. But inside, he was falling apart. And now, when you hear Terrence talk about what happens to men who give away pieces of themselves to the machine, suddenly Justin's breakdowns don't look like beast behavior, they look like trauma.
I started valuing the wrong things in this business because there was things dangling in front of me.
If I get this, I'll be happy. If I do this, I'll be happy. I decided to stop because I felt like I was dying. My security and stuff were coming into the room at night to check my pulse. Like, people don't know how serious it got. Like, it was legit crazy scary. I was waking up in the morning and the first thing I was doing is popping pills and smoking a blunt and starting my day. You know, so it just got scary. I basically said to myself, oh my God, if you're real, you get me through this season of stopping these pills and stuff, and if you do, I'll do the rest of the work. And then I did that, and then I was good from there, but I never did the actual work. I got off the pills, but I never went to the root of everything. So then I just like kind of circle back around, which most people do. People take for granted encounters and I just go through anything I went through. I don't wish that upon anybody. So
Terrence is saying Justin didn't just fall apart randomly. He was dragged into something too heavy, too fast. The parties, the power games, the manipulation, it broke him. He didn't have the tools or the words back then, but the pain still showed up through the drugs, the chaos, the spirals. He's talked about it, about how he couldn't go a day without drugs, about how he felt like he was dying. And now, hearing all this, it's heartbreaking because it wasn't just poor choices. It was survival. He was trying to cope with a reality that should have never been put on him. And sadly, Justin was one of the lucky ones. Because there's others like P.D. Pablo who didn't get that second chance. P.D. Pablo, he was climbing the charts in the early 2000s. SSS, Raise Up was everywhere. But when he pushed back, when he refused to play along, he disappeared, blackballed, just like that. No explanation, no scandal, just silence.
Pablo, you remember P.D. Pablo?
I know who that is.
P.D. Pablo, talented writer, singer. Him and Young Buck wrote a song called Ho Is On. And in that song, back in about 2011 or 29 or something, because he called out all of the homosexuality taking place at those parties and those people, he was kicked out of the music business. No radio station would play his stuff. So you look for P.D. Pablo, he's not around anymore. But that song, Ho It's On, they did not care. They went all...
Terrence even brought up a track P.D. Pablo did with Young Buck back in 2011, a song that allegedly exposed the truth about the industry parties. That song vanished. P.D. gone. Despite having platinum albums and a loyal fan base, it was like he never existed. Why? Because he broke the rules, the unspoken ones, the ones that say if you speak up, you're done. And what Terrence says next? Chillin'. He compares it to breaking the buck, a slave Sarah tactic used to publicly crush strong men and make others fall in line. And he says that's exactly what the industry still does today. It finds confident young talent, especially from the streets, tells them they've made it, then tests how much they'll give up to stay. If they say no, they're erased. If they say yes, they lose a part of themselves. Either way, there's a price. And y'all, it doesn't stop with Justin and Petey. Terrence didn't just drop a couple of names and keep it cute. No, he connected the dots all the way, and baby, the pattern is scary. But what about P.D. Pablo? His arrest treated like a death certificate, no comeback, no support. He was already blackballed. Jail just gave the industry a neat little excuse to erase him for good. And look around. How many more have we seen go through it? Shine, gone, G-Dep, lost in guilt, Emil, silenced, Jaguar, dismissed, Orlando, mocked, all of them discarded after they stopped obeying. The pattern is loud, clear, haunting, and the one name that keeps surfacing over and over again, Diddy. He's not just a celebrity, not just an artist. He's a brand, a powerhouse, an institution protected by money, connections, and silence. From Justin's troubled teen years to Shine's prison sentence to those bizarre parties no one ever really explains, Diddy's name is always there, not whispered in the background, but center stage. For years, people were too scared to say it out loud, but now, people are talking. Terrence is talking, and once you actually listen, once you connect all the receipts, you see it for what it is. This isn't about bad luck or personal demons or falling off. It's about power. Who has it, how they use it, and what they'll do to keep it. Justin wasn't spared. P.D. wasn't spared. Most of them weren't. These aren't just broken artists. These are survivors. Some barely, some not at all. And in every one of their stories, when you dig deep enough, one name keeps showing up. Diddy. Every single time.